What up, I'm B, and welcome to my channel where we talk about all things YouTube drama and current events. Today we're going to be talking about Tony Robbins, who is a business and personal development master, as well as a highly controversial figure. He has a massive and completely, totally dedicated following, and as somebody who enjoys personal development, I consume a lot of personal development podcasts. I follow a lot of people in that world, in that sphere, and so many of the people that I follow are diehard Tony fans. Personally, I know that I follow two people on Instagram who have done pretty extreme things to get to a Tony Robbins concert. One woman sold her car to go, and another put it was like $25,000 tab for this seminar on 3 different credit cards. And both of them look like they're killing it, so maybe that's part of the success, maybe it's not. But so many people talk about Tony Robbins as if he is the end-all be-all, like he is the ultimate person to look up to for both business development and personal development. A lot of times when we see a leader with a following like that, there's an element of a predatory dynamic, and a lot of people can get swindled. And so obviously, as a skeptic myself, I wanted to look into it. I've never been to a Tony Robbins event. I followed him for a little bit on Instagram. I might still follow him. I don't know. I'm never on there. But there was never anything that really drew me to him other than other people saying how amazing he is. So I figured today we would go ahead, take a look at Tony Robbins, see what kind of businesses he owns and he's involved in, and the types of products and services he offers, and see if all of this praise is valid and deserved, or if maybe there's something a little bit sketchy going on behind the scenes. Anthony J. Robbins, or Tony Robbins, was born on February 29th, 1960 in Los Angeles, California. And right off the bat, I think that's really interesting because he's a leap day baby, which, I don't know, it sets him apart immediately. And he is currently an author, motivational speaker, investor, and host of many, many courses, seminars, conferences, all the things, but he did have a tough childhood. He was the oldest of 3 kids, and his parents got divorced when he was pretty young, around 7. His dad left, and then he grew up in his mom's home, and he describes that as being chaotic and abusive. He also said that his mom was dependent on alcohol and drugs. They were also in a pretty tough spot financially all throughout his childhood. They didn't have a ton of money for extra things, and sometimes they would even skip holidays simply because they didn't have the money to celebrate them. And at one point when Tony was 17, his mother chased him around the house with a knife, and after that he moved out, left, and never came back. Tony also had a pituitary tumor as a young adult, which increased his levels of human growth hormone and caused him to grow 10 inches. So he's 6'7" now, and it is because of this tumor. Luckily, it has stabilized, and so hopefully it doesn't cause any further damage. But this pituitary tumor, this growth, I feel like lends to the air that he carries himself with. When we get into how he is now and how he conducts business now, he's a pretty self-assured guy. He seems very confident. He is a big presence, and a lot of that is his personality, but a lot of it is the height. And so kind of naturally, I think when a lot of people see somebody who looks like that and carries themselves in the way that Tony does, you kind of defer to them. You see somebody walking around like that and you're like, oh, they probably know what they're doing. They probably know what they're talking about. I should listen. So after Tony left his mom's house at age 17, he was very determined to create a good life for himself. And he even looks back on that incident and says, if my mom had been the mother I thought I wanted, I wouldn't be as driven, I wouldn't be as hungry. I wouldn't have suffered, so I probably wouldn't have cared about other people's suffering as much as I do. And it made me obsessed with wanting to understand people and help create change. And I think that that is a really cool sentiment. I love the idea of taking things that are hard or have hurt you in the past or really kind of put you through the ringer and shifting your mindset about them and saying, that thing sucked, but here's what I learned from it. Here's how I can help myself go forward, and here's how I can help others. I love it. But there is a lot of criticism about the way that Tony approaches helping people and creating change. And we are definitely going to go over that later in the video. Now, as a young adult, Tony worked as a janitor and he made about $40 per week. Eventually, he saved up $35 to buy a ticket to a Jim Rohn seminar, and it was there that he actually got to meet Jim and ask him for a job, which he ended up giving him. Eventually, Jim saw the potential in Tony. He saw how motivated he was and how driven he was to become successful, and I like to think change people's lives, and thought, I can really help develop this person. And so Jim became Tony's mentor. And this is obviously what got Tony into the motivational speaking world. Now, obviously, this video isn't about Jim Rohn, but I do think it's very interesting to note that Jim Rohn was a very successful motivational speaker, but he also took on a lot of other young businessmen as a mentor, and he was a massive proponent of direct selling, which is just the old word for network marketing or multi-level marketing. And network marketing is where they get you. If you're not very knowledgeable about MLMs, they'll call it network marketing and make it sound very different than it is. But at the end of the day, direct selling, network marketing, and multi-level marketing, they're basically all the same thing. And actually, in the 1950s, Jim Rohn was a distributor for a network marketing or direct sales company called Abunda Vita, and then 2 years later, he left that company and joined another one called NutriBio, where he built one of the largest downlines in the company and was eventually named one of the vice presidents. So Jim, big fan of network marketing, very successful in it, so totally understand why, but it is kind of a shady business practice. I'm saying that to be tactful. I think MLMs are extremely predatory, but it's kind of a shady business practice. And another interesting thing is that Jim Rohn was the mentor of Mark Hughes, who founded Herbalife, which is a huge multi-level marketing company. So right off the bat, that's something that I find a little bit off-putting. He had a mentor who was such a supporter of network marketing companies. And I know that network marketing definitely looked a lot different in the 1950s, but if you go back and look at different lawsuits and the founders of these companies, it's not a great history. You can see it that a lot of times very shady people are involved in them. And of course, there's going to be shady people in anything, no matter where you go. But I find that it's especially concentrated in the multi-level marketing world. So like I said, network marketing, very different in the 50s, definitely not as pervasive and invasive and predatory as they are now, but it is an inherently flawed business structure, and so I kind of question anybody who openly supports them or associates with them. And from what I could find, Tony hasn't ever started a network marketing company, but he definitely supports them, and he is more than okay appealing to and drawing in an audience of network marketers. He even has a specific section on his site that is directed towards success in network marketing, and it leads you to sign up for from what I saw, a free course called the 7 Forces of Business Mastery, which can be used for legitimate entrepreneurs or people in direct marketing or direct selling companies. And Tony is very open about the fact that he supports network marketing companies. In 2015, he did an interview with Eric Worre where he talked about the power of network marketing, how it is a great business model because it is so low risk to the people who get involved in it. But I think if you've done a basic Google search on the cons of network marketing, it's pretty easy to figure out that it's not a great business structure and a lot of people lose a lot of money. And yes, you can lose money in any business where you're putting your own cash into it, but the dynamic is a little bit different. I'm gonna try not to divert this into an anti-MLM rant, But when it comes to starting your own business, you have control over everything. You get to choose how you run your business, how you promote it, what you price things at, XYZ, all of that. But when it comes to direct selling companies or multi-level marketing companies, they say, well, we did the hard work. We created the product. We created the company. We have all the business licensing. We did all of this, and you just buy the starter kit and sell the products and then recruit other people under you, and you can actually make commission on what they sell too. It's super easy. And so a lot of people are told that, well, people are going to use these products anyway. They're great products. Most of the time they're not. But this is an easy way to make money and gain financial freedom. And so people fall for it. A lot of times it's vulnerable people who are in a tough spot in life who fall for it, and they spend that money and they try and keep up and they try to be successful. And half the time they get the rug pulled out from under them by the company themselves. Like, that could go down at any time. They could get rid of a direct selling structure at any time. The quality of products could go completely downhill at any time, and you have no control over it. We saw this with LuLaRoe. LuLaRoe started out having pretty high quality products. I'd never seen anybody complain about them when LuLaRoe first started coming out, but as the company grew and grew and grew, and they wanted to keep up with demand, they decided to lower the quality of the products, and it went to trash. And a lot of this was because a lot of people saw how successful distributors of LuLaRoe were, or they wanted the discount on the products because they were good. The leggings were good, patterns were suspect, but they were good. And so the amount of orders and the amount of consultants and all of this just rapidly increased, and LuLaRoe could not keep up. And if you're a business owner, you have control of how that's done. Network marketing, if you're a distributor, sorry, it's out of your hands. And so it is risky. People were making 6 figures a year and went broke because of something that was completely out of their control. So no, it's not a low risk business structure. It's very predatory, and they're dangerous companies. Side note, if you remember a few months ago when COVID first started, I did a video reacting to a network marketing guru talking about how this pandemic was going to be so great for all y'all's businesses, and it was the same guy. It was Eric Worre. So if you haven't seen that, I'll put a link right here. Okay, rant over, back to the point. Tony Robbins is a business leader who coaches people and teaches them how to be successful, who openly promotes multi-level marketing and wants to be a resource for people who want success in that field. And that brings us to what I feel like is one of Tony's most undesirable traits, and that's the fact that he is willing to commodify, quite literally, everything and anything regardless of morality. Obviously, he is a very successful man. He knows how to be successful and achieve that and maintain it because he has for all of these years, but it makes me question how helpful he can actually be to the people that he is serving. Like I said, he does a ton of seminars, conferences, interviews, he writes books. He has his hand in so many different pots. So let's go ahead and get into some of the products and services that he currently offers. According to Tony's website, Tony Robbins is an entrepreneur, #1 New York Times bestselling author, philanthropist, and the nation's #1 life and business strategist. I don't know who determines that, if he was named that somewhere or if they're just claiming it because he's successful. Who knows? For more than 4 decades, more than 50 million people have enjoyed the warmth, humor, and transformational power of his business and personal development events. He's the nation's #1 life and business strategist. Again, according to who? Author of 6 internationally best-selling books, including the recent New York Times #1 bestseller, Money, in all caps, Master the Game, and Unshakable, all caps. Mr. Robbins has empowered more than 50 million people from 100 countries through his audio, video, and life training programs. He created the #1 personal and professional development program of all time, and more than 4 million people have attended his live seminars. Mr. Robbins is the chairman of a holding company comprised of more than 50 privately held businesses with combined sales exceeding $6 billion a year. He has been honored by Accenture as one of the top 50 business intellectuals in the world, by Harvard Business Press as one of the top 200 business gurus, and by American Express as one of the top 6 business leaders in the world to coach its entrepreneurial clients. Fortune's recent cover article named him the CEO Whisperer, and he has been named in the top 50 of Worth magazine's 100 most powerful people in global finance for 3 consecutive years. He is a leader called upon by leaders and has worked with 3 U.S. presidents, top entertainers from Aerosmith to Green Day to Usher and Pitbull, as well as athletes like Serena Williams, Andre Agassi, and the Golden State Warriors. Business leaders seek his advice as well. Casino magnate Steve Wynn and Salesforce.com founder Mark Benioff are among those grateful for his coaching. As a philanthropist through his partnership with Feeding America, Mr. Robbins has provided over 500 million meals in the last 5 years to those in need. He is on track to provide 1 billion meals over the next 5 years. He has also initiated programs in more than 1,500 schools, 700 prisons, and 50,000 service organizations and shelters. He provides fresh water to 250 people a day in India in order to fight waterborne diseases, the #1 killer of children in that country. Now, before we move on to where I'm going to be a little bit more critical of him, I want to say that the last part, the part about Feeding America and providing meals to people in need, providing clean water, that is so incredible and very noble. I think it is an amazing thing when people use what they have, when they share their resources with people who could really use the help. So I love that, and I think that that is a very cool thing that he is doing, but we still got to look into some of this shady stuff. So let's move on. Tony currently hosts a multitude of live events. They are being conducted a little bit differently this year, obviously. Typically they are in person, but right now they're being held online. And depending on the event that you go to, it's either going to last 3 days or 6 days. But currently on Tony's calendar are events such as Unleash the Power Within, Date with Destiny, Business Mastery, Life and Wealth Mastery, Life Mastery, Wealth Mastery, Leadership Academy, and he also has a platinum partnership, which I believe lasts for a year and is very premiumly priced, but it entitles you to specific events that are more intimate and like one-on-one time with Tony. Now, as for the pricing of the other events, I'm gonna need you to take a seat or like grab onto a counter for stability, because I feel like it's gonna kind of make you stumble a little bit when you hear how much a typical Tony Robbins event costs. Let's take a look at Date with Destiny. This is a 6-day event that claims it will help you discover who you are and connect with your ultimate purpose and ignite your passion to achieve the ultimate vision of your life, career, finances, health, and relationships in 6 days. And a single ticket right now for this online event of Date with Destiny is being sold for $4,495 directly from his website. And when you look at getting this ticket, this $4,495 ticket, it says that right now you can save 40%. So that's the sale price. Typically, they would sell it for $7,995. I'm hoping they're changing the price. They're altering it because it's not the in-person event that people have come to expect. So I don't know if a typical ticket for the in-person meeting is almost $8,000 or if this sale is going to come to an end and online it costs almost $8,000. But either way, I feel like that is a very premium price. Tony also offers one-on-one business coaching, and from what I've seen, it doesn't just focus on the business, like it says it's business coaching, but I would assume based on like the pictures and the testimonials from the website that you're also going to focus on health, daily habits, workout schedule, mindset, just knowing just knowing about Tony. That's what I would assume is going to be included, plus what I could gather from the website. And of course, they don't have a basic price for this online. You have to either apply and schedule a call, or you have to call in directly and get a quote for the kind of coaching, the intensity, and the length of what Tony recommends. And he typically recommends that you would be a student under his coaching for a minimum of a year so he can really dig down deep into you. And I feel like if you're getting one-on-one time with Tony, that is probably a good investment because, like I said, he is a very successful person. I just cannot imagine how much that would cost. Tony also sells online packages that cover productivity and performance, mind and meaning, health and vitality, wealth and lifestyle, career and business, loving relationships, and leadership and impact. And these packages include an online course and a workbook in most cases, and they range from $25, which I feel is very reasonable, all the way up to $3,995. Additionally, he sells merch on that website, which is a pretty typical thing from most influencers or businesses, companies. That's not really a surprising thing. But he also sells health and weight loss supplements, and those range from $39 to $387 depending on what you're getting. Now, if you look specifically at one of them called Bioenergy Greens Powder, it's a month supply and you can get it for $79 if you do a one-time purchase, or if you sign up to get it every single month, it is $59. And that does sound like kind of a high price, but for me, I have a chronic illness. I take a lot of supplements, and personally, I take a supplement similar to a greens powder. I pay $59 for it per month, and I'm okay with that because it works for me. It's one of the things that has most consistently helped me manage my chronic illness. So the pricing of that doesn't necessarily seem outrageous, but I'm skeptical of them just because he has so many different products and so many areas of focus on this single website. Now, obviously, Tony is not creating this product himself. I'm sure he's not sitting in a garage throwing like freeze-dried broccoli into a blender and then shipping it out himself. He very clearly either has a supplier or a team who has developed this, so I'm sure it's legitimate. I'm sure these greens are pretty stock standard, but I'm still just kind of hesitant. I personally wouldn't buy a product like that from Tony Robbins, so I'm interested to hear what you guys think about the fact that he offers things like that on his business and personal development coaching website. In any case though, Tony has managed to place himself in a position of influence in nearly every area of your life. If you are somebody who follows him and you find his content or his tips valuable, you're going to kind of look up to him for everything because he offers products and services for literally every area of your life. And that reminds me a lot of Rachel Hollis, but they do have a little bit of a difference when it comes to personal relationships and marriages. Tony has already gone through a very public divorce and he talks about it openly. In 1984, he had a child with a woman named Liz Acosta, and then in that same year, he married his first wife, Becky. When he married her, she already had kids, and so according to Tony, he knew from the day that they were getting married that this wasn't right, but he decided to stay with her until her kids went to college, and then he divorced her in 2001. And that very same year, again, kind of a parallel, he married his current wife, Sage. Her legal name is Bonnie, but she goes by Sage. And they've been together ever since. Now, as far as staying with Becky until her kids went to college, I have mixed feelings on it. I think if you know something isn't right from the get-go, like from the day that you get married, it's probably best for both people to separate, even though it's hard. Like during that time, it's hard to let somebody down, because he said I didn't want her to feel disappointed. And so I get it, that's hurtful, but it's also kind of a weird thing to say, okay, well, now that the kids are out of the house, we're done. I've always thought that this was odd. So I have mixed feelings. Like I said, I think it's noble that he tried to do the right thing, what he perceived was the right thing, but the way he went about it is just a little bit off. Anyway, though, he's already been through the divorce thing, and obviously none of us outside of the marriage know what his current marriage is like, but there is a documentary that was released on Netflix in 2016 called I Am Not Your Guru, which takes you behind the scenes of the Tony Robbins event, Date with Destiny, and his wife is in it. She seems lovely. They seem very happy and supportive of each other, so hopefully they're happy together. So knowing about all of the products, programs, services, and people in the business world that Tony has worked with, obviously we know he's good at what he does. He has a level of personal success which is far above many other people, but I'm really questioning whether or not the programs are worthwhile for people who don't have a one-on-one relationship with Tony. Just a regular audience member, another face in the crowd, somebody who he doesn't have that personal relationship with.